the screen that can be used to enter or define the list of inventory items that are there in the stock is this, which is called the items or the create modify items screen. When you click on the screen, this is how it looks like, the way it is displayed. On top are the action buttons. These are various action buttons, the activities or the functions that can be performed. The second area, this is the advanced search area. This section has various filters that you can enter to locate a specific kind of item or a specific item from the entire list which is already there in the system. If you've already entered the list of items into the system and you need to locate one or two specific kind of items or specific items, you can use these filters. These are all filters: the item ID, the item group, store type, the kind of item, whether it's regular, market list, imported, central purchase, and you click on the search button to locate the specific item that you're looking for. This section of the screen, the ones that you can see here, these are the list of items which are already there in the system. In the sense, these item IDs have already been entered into the system. So this is the list that it is displaying. On the right hand side are the details of each of the items. So as you click on the left, I want to see the details of this item called black dog. So I click on the row on the left hand list, and the details are displayed here in each of the fields. So as you click on the specific items, this area, the right area of the screen, gets refreshed and the details are displayed as per the selected item. To be able to create a new item or to enter a new item, there are two ways of doing it. One is, if you want to enter one item at a time using this screen, you can click on the add button. When you click on the add button, all the fields get cleaned, they are refreshed, and you can start entering the values as required for each of the fields. Now this is one way of doing it, and it can be slightly tedious if there are a bulk of items that you need to enter into the system. In such scenarios, the best practice would be to use this option called upload from Excel. When you click on upload from Excel, there is a small screen that pops up here, and you can see there is a button called download template. The first step is you click on the button called download template, by which you will see there is a XLS file. It is an Excel sheet. INV07 underscore items is an Excel sheet that you can open, or you can first save, and you fill in the fields or the columns as defined in the Excel sheet. So these are the column headings, and you need to enter the item. The first column is the item ID, then is the description, the store type, the default store, the item group, the stocking unit, the item unit. The columns which are marked in red are mandatory fields, and you need to enter the value in these columns. The ones which are marked in black are optional fields that you may or may not define for a specific item. So as you can fill in this entire Excel sheet, putting values in the mandatory columns, you save this Excel sheet in a particular location, and then you again go to the browse button here. You browse and you locate the location where the Excel sheet has been saved, and once you've located, you choose the Excel sheet and then you click on the upload data. The moment you click on upload data, the entire list of items that you had stored, that you had entered in the Excel sheet, would start appearing in this section of the screen. In the left hand section of the screen, the items get created in the system. So this is a faster way to define the list of items, inventory items, into the system. If there are one or two items, you can choose to do it by entering each of the fields here in the screen. Now, what are these fields is I will explain. The first is, we are not doing the invent item type right now. We will handle this. We will talk about this later. The mandatory field is, of course, the item ID. You define the item ID, which can be up to 8 characters long. It can be a combination of numbers, alphabets, or just alphabets, whatever is the procedure that is being followed. So sequence being followed. So that is the item ID. The first field is the item ID. Let me just select a existing item so that it becomes very well explanatory. Okay, let me take banana. So banana has an item ID that I have defined as FDF1. I have also marked it as a regular item. Regular indicates that this item is a part of the inventory items and is procured at regular intervals. It is also marked as market list. Why? Because this is a market list item, and this is actually procured on a daily basis as per the requirement set up or as per the requirement given by the chef. Okay, so this is market list item. Uh, you can mark items as expires if for items like juices or sauce which have an expiry date, so that whenever you mark this checkbox as expires at the time when you are recording the receipt of such items, you are um, you have to enter the expiry lots, the dates on which each bottle or each carton of bottles or juice cans are expiring. So that's the expiry lot that you need to enter. So that can happen, entering of expiry lots or maintaining expiry lots can happen only if you mark this checkbox for the specific item as expires. Description can be up to 150 characters. This is the description of the item. The packaging of the item that can be selected from the drop down list. If there is no specific packaging, you can leave it blank. Then comes the store type. In inventory, we follow the concept that an item belongs to a particular type of store and not to a particular stock location. So this is where you define the type of store to which this item belongs, which I have defined as food store. The default store is used, this particular field is used by the screen called store receipt from vendor screen, where we record the receipt of items from suppliers. So it's basically a default value which the system wants, so that the user does not have to enter the store again and again. So if there are multiple stock locations within a particular store type, it is a good idea to define which of the store in which this item is more often received. So this is the default store. Then comes the item group, the category of the item to which this particular item belongs. Then comes the unit of measurement in which the item is stocked, which is understood as the stocking unit. Then is the unit of measurement in which the item is placed in order for procurement. So this is order unit. In most of the cases, the stocking unit and the order unit remain same. In very, very less or few cases will the order unit be a little different than the stocking unit. But you must keep in mind that the system will allow you to enter a different unit of measurement for order unit, provided that unit of measurement is convertible or can be converted from the stocking unit. These two units have to be interconvertible. It is not that stocking unit is kgs and order unit you're placing as numbers, where there is no conversion factor between kilograms and numbers. Okay, so it is important that these unit of measurements should be interconvertible. Then item barcode is not a mandatory field. This is used or this is required only if barcode reading is interface is installed and barcode reading is enabled. So whenever you swipe an item over the barcode reader, the number that it reads from the barcodes is automatically generated and displayed here in this field. Item unit is a field which is being used by a particular report called cost of goods sold. This is a particular kind of report which is a part of the inventory module, and what is the usage or how is it being used in the report we will discuss much later. But for the time being, what you need to understand is that the item unit ideally should be the same as that of the stocking unit. The stocking unit and item unit should be same. This is basically just for the time being. How the item unit field is being used we will discuss much later. The other fields additional information is the section where you can provide some additional informations like the smallest unit. Now smallest unit is mainly a control that you can set so that the item is not transacted in fractions. Smallest unit typically is used for engineering items where you cannot, would not want your user to post a transaction in fractions, like say for example screwdrivers or some kind of uh, equipments which can be transacted, which can be issued from the store only in numbers, as in one screwdriver, two screwdrivers, 10 screwdrivers, or even stationary items like pens, which can be issued in numbers, as in whole numbers and not in fractions. So if you define the smallest unit, the system restricts or does not allow the user to post transactions in fractions. That is basically the smallest unit in which you can transact a particular item. That is what it means. Uh, Alternate item category is not being used in the application right now, so we would not talk about it. F&B unit and F&B group, these are the two fields which work as an interface between inventory and the food and beverage cost control module. How is it being used? We will discuss when in the F&B cost control videos. Item VAT class is a classification that is required to incorporate or to use VAT percentages applicable on items, where items are classified based on VAT percentages. So this is also another field which we will discuss when we in the VAT setup video. Remarks is anything, any important remarks up to 255 characters that you want to give for this particular item. Wastage percentage is another field which is being used by the food and beverage cost control module. So this is another field we will discuss in the F&B video. There are a few indicators which is inspection required. If you want this item to be marked as inspection necessary, then you can tick this checkbox. Right now I'm unable to tick it because this particular item is already being used in transactions. I cannot change the setup which is already done. So inspection required is a check that you can put where for fragile items which require inspection at the time when you're receiving from the suppliers. Imported is just an information indicator. Weighing scale input should be ticked if you want the quantity that you are receiving for this particular item should be an input from the weighing scale and not a manual entry. So there would be a weighing scale interface installed, and whatever the weighing scale reads, that is the quantity that you can receive or record as receipt from the supplier for this particular item. Auto reorder flag is also a feature which is available in inventory module of WebProlific, where the system automatically calculates and displays a quantity figure that needs to be reordered. If you want that feature to be used for this particular item, you should tick this option called auto reorder flag. Issue history is always being maintained by the system irrespective of whether you tick this option or not. Central purchase is an indicator by which the system understands that this particular item is a central purchase item, in the sense that it is procured at a central location and distributed to various other properties. The central purchase is an indicator which is mostly used when the setup of WebProlific is for multi-property or a chain setup. Circulating flag is an indicator which is a redundant indicator. It is no more being used by the system right now. So these are some of the additional informations that you can define for the item. MIS details are reorder quantity, the reorder level, the average lead days. Average lead days is the number of days that is required to procure an item, starting from placing an order to the supplier delivering the item. Reorder quantity is the minimum quantity or the quantity that is always required to maintain a certain level of stock of that particular item, beyond which the stock of that item should not go below that certain level. What is that certain level is reorder level. that so reorder level and reorder quantity actually work together in tandem with each other. So reorder level is the level below which the stock should not go for an item, and the moment it reaches the reorder level, what is the quantity that should be reordered? That is the reorder quantity. Reorder percentage margin is a field which is a percentage margin which is typically used for items like meat or cloth, where the quantity that is being delivered by the supplier need not be exactly the same uh, uh, as the quantity that has been placed an order for. It could be a few grams or few inches more than what you have placed an order. So to be able to record such quantity of receivings, you need to define the percentage that should be allowed, the minimum percentage that should be allowed over and above the quantity that is being procured, that is being ordered. Okay, so this is reorder percentage margin. Uh, Maximum quantity and minimum quantity is mainly to define the capacity, the storage capacity of the store. And service level is the field which is being used for serviced items, mainly engineering items. Then the next we have something called as analysis. These are the 6 analysis reports that can be generated from the inventory module, and you define whether this item falls under the category of A, B, or C for the ABC analysis, X, Y, Z for the XYZ analysis. High, medium, low is again for the value of the item, so HML analysis. Fast, slow, non-moving is based on the consumption, so which is whether you would want to define this item as fast consumption, slow consumption, or it just doesn't move from the store at all. Vital, essential, desirable is basically for the smooth operations of the hotel. Is it a vital item, essential or desirable? Scarce, difficult, easy is the procurement, how easy it is to procure, how difficult, and if it is a scarce item. So these are the analysis that can be defined cutoff for the item. Item status is a section in which the information is displayed automatically based on whatever transactions have been recorded for the item. Picture, you can well, it is not showing the field here, but picture can be uploaded for the particular item, which is more useful for mobile prolific, where the picture of the item is displayed. For web prolific, the picture does not display anywhere, so it's not really very important. So that's all. These are the things that you need to define to be able to create the item. From By clicking the add button, you enter all the fields and you finally click on save to complete the process of creating the item. You can print the details of the item also, okay, if you want to print it. Otherwise, the bulk creation of items is the best way to do is using this upload from Excel option.